And welcome back, Red Blur Gamers. Here we are, just touching up the models from the other day, which obviously have been glued onto their bases and used in a game, which surprisingly, well, maybe for some, maybe for others not. I did win against Chaos Demons. I don't think I made any massive boo-boos or mistakes per se that were significant that I could remember. It was a very good game. It did take a long time for me to get to the point where I was in control. But yeah, let's get some of these little fellows some blue in there, just in their areas where there needs to be blue for the plasma, which is just these spots. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just getting some blue in these areas where the plasma glow should be. I'm using the technical paint Soulstone Blue for this particular thing, which I think I've swapped between a few different paints in terms of while I've been doing this to see which one works the best. I prefer the so far the Soulstone Blue. I don't know. Well, actually, I know that I just cracked it open for the first time. I definitely like the color that it is giving me. I'm just going to have to go through and clean up a lot of overspill, and then obviously once this is done, all we've got to do is go back and clean up the backpacks of the crisis suits to make it look like they are energized or being used or turned on. I've been doing it over, which I started doing on all of the models, and so now I'm just going to go through and make sure that I continue to get it in the right spots. And then I'll come back eventually, and I'm going to attempt to do a little bit of weathering on these guys, just, you know, because I want to push obviously the bases have got to be done as well, which will be the grey, the snow, and then grass will go down. I have some rocks that I'll end up gluing in situ as well to help with making it look a little more realistic, give it a little bit more of an edge, make it a little nicer. But yeah, extra plasma was definitely a help. I need to go ahead and build, finish off. I've got a crisis, a broadside battlesuit there I'm actually in the midst of building. I do need to finish that off. I'm thinking about whether or not I can actually get 100 miniatures painted for the new Warhammer competition they're running, where you paint 100 miniatures in a period of time, and you get some Warhammer based merch. I'm going to have a crack at that and see if that's worth doing. Just got a Q-tip here, or you know what we would call in Australia, call an earbud. Just wiping away the excess blue on all of the gun barrels to make sure that it's not too crazy. We want it really just in the recesses versus being all over the gun barrel. And sometimes it you get it where you want it to, sometimes you don't, or you get lucky and you get it in the hole exactly how you need it. But yeah, that part's done, at least as you can see. So we will switch into looking at the back of these, and as you can see, some of these, this one here, completed in the back, again, also completed. So we'll go ahead and we'll paint the back side of this miniature, which is pretty straightforward. We are looking for it is. Give it a bit of a shake. Boop, 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 boop. And we go in with a little bit of this Ratcon blue as a layer. Then we go in with a white, which we thin down intentionally to try and provide a bit of context, and then we will hit it with a contrast blue over the top to try and give it a little bit of depth. But for the time being, we're just going to run, and then obviously I'll fix all these little mistakes up eventually as we go around. So we'll be able to paint this one. As you can see, I haven't quite got in all the corners there. A brush, whack it in there, don't mess about. Same over here. Get it operational, get it in there. Fill up all of the little crevices and hopefully get this to dry in between doing everything else. And we will just run the paint around the lip of this, trying to hit just those edges to provide us with a little bit of room for some edge highlighting later on. Obviously, with what we're doing, I've got to get the other edges of this, which is fine because I can actually get there with the brush like so, and we'll just hit the edge of that and that. There, we'll just make sure we got all of that coloured in on those top couple of engines, because the bottom two are a touch harder. I've got other brushes attaching themselves to me, so we're going to kind of go a little bit harder. This is a little more difficult. Possibly you can't see what I'm doing, but I can see, and that's all that matters. We'll talk through it. So I've got the model tilted on a very high angle, obviously because these engines on the bottom point predominantly to the ground, which makes it a little bit harder to get the paint in them. And also to make sure we got all around where we needed to. So then we go again and we just run this across the top edges. And any overspill we will fix at a later date. We'll just run this around, boop. Obviously we're going to let this dry, and then we'll be able to come in later on in another video and oh, I've got a bit of painting I've got to get in there. In another video and be able to finish it off. So yeah, there's a short, sharp one for you. I know it's not a huge amount of painting, and right now I don't really have anything else that is ready to go. I do know that this Crutox is just looking a bit different. Definitely used a different colour over here. As you can see, this is one of the paint pens. This gold is from paint pen as well. But yeah, we've got a couple of little bits and pieces. Got a bit more blues got to get in there, all over his head, and then figure out what I'm going to paint, what colour I'm going to paint this chain. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm happy with how I'm going. Probably could do a little better with some of my touch-up work. But yeah, as you can see, I've also worked on the gun and gun barrel and the little guy. So it's just a little bit of touch-up work I've done to actually help get some of this colour sorted out. His head's got to be done. And then obviously his shoulder panel, I've got to figure out what colour I want to paint that, as well as the bits and pieces on his back. They're probably going to be metallic, as they are looking like they are rounds for the big gun. And then obviously that will be able to be glued back together per se. Bingo, bango, bongo. there. And a base will be, which is just here, will be sorted out. So roughly how we set on the base like so. I'll figure out whether I want to corkboard any of the base. I do have some bits and pieces and some stuff that I can work on. But then I've got to go ahead and strip a whole bunch of models that need to be stripped and painted. Again, so that is something else I'll be working on in the background. I don't think I need to really do any touch-upping on anything else at the moment. Most of the stuff is done, completed. I'm happy with it. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the new Warhammer comp that has come out? Obviously, you pledge to paint as many minis as you can in a certain period of time. And then you go from there. As you can see, this is another one that's been completed. I just need to put some of the Vallejo weathering effect on the bottom of it, which I think this one's been cracked. It has. So there's that one. I can work on that. I've got the little tool that I use for the weathering effect. Sometimes I use a brush, which is just here, helps get it out. Close that off. Make sure that's locked down. I guess while we're doing this, I can actually do this per se. So let's just explain. Like, I've got the models here done, so we can actually get in and start whacking in this weathering effect. I will leave a little bit of a gap in a few spots. I won't completely get it done on all of the model because I said I want to glue some rocks onto the bases to give it a little bit of character. But we just go ahead and we push this around. This is the snow effect. So it just gets pushed around in and around feet and whatnot to make it look like they're standing in the snow. And we'll get around the back there, get a bit more of this on the brush, and we'll be able to work its way in and around. It's okay now if I get it on the model because, you know what, the model's already in situ, and it also helps sell the look and the feel that, you know, they're standing in snow, which is the whole point of this snow effect stuff. And that's the whole theme of the army. They have, obviously, I have Farsight. So the story with this army is that they are on a Tau Sept world away from the main Tau army, and the land, the world they've ended up on is just covered in snow, and so that actually helps sell a little bit of a story. They're covered in snow. They're on a snow world. Some of this stuff is pretty straightforward. That's why they're all predominantly white with kind of like the light blue colors attached to the models, and like light aquary blues on accessories. There is some different colored, lenses and whatnot, and a lot of it is a mixture of red and greens. Some, my vehicles have proper tail lights for hilarity, for a bit of a gag to make it look like they're actually cars. But yeah, the point is that they are on a snow world. He's popped off the base, and that's rather frustrating. I'm going to have to re-glue that after I push this current bit on. That's not the shit of it. That's got to be re-glued. Anyway, that's put an end of that for the time being, because I have to glue that model again, which means exiting the house for that particular thing, because Mrs. Blur does not like me gluing indoors, and I don't blame her, because now that I've stopped doing it, I can most definitely smell the glue. I've got these guys here because they need to be stripped so I can reprime them and then paint them. So it'll be part of the models that I paint for the Warhammer comp. I'm going to pledge to paint some. I just hope I can get my pledge completed. I've got to double check the time frame. But yeah, with the fact that I've got the broadside there, that's another model that I will hopefully be able to get finished putting together and then paint, and that will be another model. I know there's a lot of singular models. I've got some Amazons, a good bunch of them from Blood Bowl. I could actually prime those models because they're all glued together and go ahead and paint them. That would also be able to help me tick off a few. Like I'm hoping to at least get to the first level, which is 25 painted. I would really love to paint the 100 in the time frame, but I don't think I'm going to have the time available, which, you know, is one thing, but, you know, I'll be doing my best. But yeah, anyway, that is all from me. I was a little bit frustrating that that model broke off. I'm just clearing up, as you can see, these missile pods, which will go onto the joiner for the back of the broadside, to be glued and painted in future. I do have to get the rest of that broadside part out and trimmed. But yeah, as for right now, I'll let that stuff dry and we'll call it a night. But thanks for dropping by. Thanks for watching. As per normal, if you've gotten this far, let me know what you think. Leave a like, a comment, say g'day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.